Have you ever felt like something was watching you from the darkness? Like shadows in the corner of your room, whispering your name, just beyond the edge of your vision? Tonight, I'll share with you a chilling tale about those very shadows and the secrets they hide. If you've ever had a creepy experience or felt an eerie presence around you, comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your stories, or what you think should happen next. Now, the first story starts. There was a house on the edge of town. A house that had been empty for as long as anyone could remember. The windows were boarded up, the door left ajar, creaking with the wind. It wasn't the kind of house people spoke about in public, but rather in hushed tones when no one else was around. The shadows inside were said to whisper, calling out to anyone who dared come too close. One evening, a curious young man named Tom walked by the house. He had heard the stories and was always intrigued by them. He had grown up hearing tales of the house but had never believed any of it. Until that night. As he approached, he noticed something odd. The door was wide open. His heart raced. Something was drawing him closer. His steps slowed as he got closer to the threshold, his fingers brushing against the frame as if it had some magnetic force. A voice from deep within the house seemed to call his name. Tom. It whispered. He froze. The voice was soft, barely audible. But it was there. Tom knew he should turn and run, but instead, something strange urged him to go inside. He stepped into the darkness, the air growing colder with each step. The door creaked behind him, but he didn't turn around. The shadows moved, flickering at the edge of his vision, stretching longer, closer, as if they were alive. He walked further in, each room more ominous than the last. In one of the rooms, the shadows seemed to gather in the corners, whispering in a language he couldn't understand. He felt his heart pound in his chest as he reached out toward the shadows, as if something wanted him to touch them, to understand them. Then, suddenly, there was silence. And then, an ear-piercing scream. Tom spun around, his body frozen in terror. The shadows were gone, and in their place stood a figure, its face hidden beneath a dark hood, eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. The figure didn't speak. It pointed toward the farthest corner of the room, and Tom followed its gaze. There, pressed against the wall, was a figure. A woman, her eyes wide open in fear, her mouth frozen in a silent scream. The whispers returned, but this time they weren't just in the shadows. They were in his head, louder, closer, more urgent. Leave. Leave now. She is still here. Tom wanted to run, but his legs wouldn't move. His heart raced as the shadows seemed to grow, swirling around the woman, pulling her into the darkness. The figure stepped forward and whispered, "She's waiting for you." Before Tom could react, the room plunged into darkness, the whispers all around him, as though the very air was alive with dread. The last thing he heard was the figure's voice, cold and final. "You should never have come here." The next morning, the house was empty once more. No one ever saw Tom again. But the whispers continued, just faintly, in the corners of the town. And those who dared listen would tell you, they could hear them even now. What do you think? Let me know if you have any creepy experiences of your own, or if you want to hear more chilling tales like this one. Share your thoughts below.